358 days in total have elapsed, and this is the 25th of December 2023. It is a Christmas to you, and thank you for joining us this morning. We've got 7 more days to go in as far as concluding 2023 is concerned, and this is the Camnet TV Breakfast Show on a Monday, and thank you for having Christmas with us. We wish you a Merry Christmas wherever you're watching us from, be it our Facebook platform, YouTube, as well as GoTV, Topstand, DSTV. I'm your host, Nelson Zulu, and I'm not alone in the studio. I'm joined by my colleague, Miriam Kamba, who's been off the screen for some time, but she's joining me. Interesting, on a Christmas. Happy Christmas to you.
I decided to surprise you. I decided to become your Santa.
So I was like, yeah,
I decided to, surprise you on a Christmas.
I've got a new Santa in a female, right? So
isn't that great?
Yeah, it is great.
It is great.
It is great if you ask me.
Yeah, it is great. And yeah, Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you so much. How have been your days? I mean, you've been off the screen for some time.
Yeah. Basically, it's been good. Hectic in some point, but very good. We have been, doing whatever possible we can to ensure that, we maintain
the positivity levels.
Positivity in whatever we do. Well, exactly. And I hope that while I was gone, you still maintained the positivity.
Patrick Soko and myself will tell you that, I mean, it is a sig tune that we had adopted.
I'm glad. And we only have like 7 days remaining till we conclude our 2023.
Yes.
And we're hoping for more new things to come in 2024 as we begin the year of a new journey. Exactly. 2023 has been, a lot of ups and down challenges, but, all in all, it has been a good year. Yeah, we cannot forget that fact.
It's been a good year, and what I would like to find out from you is how you're celebrating Christmas. What does it mean to you?
Nelson. Anyway, talking about how we are celebrating Christmas, we will be joined later on in studio by Reverend Maona Zulu, who is going to help us, discuss and what exactly Christmas means later on. But suffice to mention that, again, we will be joined by Chilenge Ward 8 Councillor Ruben Mwenyewe is going to help us discuss about some of the developmental issues that are happening in his ward, given the fact that we have now, come to the end of the year. What are things that, the people of Chilenge are expecting? But anyway, before we usher in our guests and just, avail some of the things that we have for our viewers this morning, let us just get direct into our health corner and just see what the doctors have for us this morning.
Good morning. I'm glad that you could join us today again for yet another interesting topic. And this week we'll be looking at asthma. Asthma is a common condition amongst us, and there are many people that have this condition. So we want to understand how it comes about and also how you can prevent asthma. Then we'll talk about the signs and symptoms as well, and also how it's treated in the hospital. So asthma usually affects a lot of people, and even children are also affected. About 17 million children in the world are affected by asthma. It affects anybody, whether it's an adult or a child, but usually it starts from childhood. Usually the symptoms present themselves when the person is still very young. And asthma usually comes about because of allergic reaction. So people who have allergies or who are allergic to so many things can also end up having asthma in the long run. So it comes about because the respiratory system, or your lungs, which are part of your respiratory system, your lungs, your trachea, your bronchi, they become so reactive, and so they overreact to certain substances in the environment. So tomorrow we'll talk about some of the triggers of asthma, what really triggers asthma. But today we'll focus more on what it really is. So like I said, it's a hyperresponsiveness in the chest, in your lungs and your airways basically. So this hyperresponsiveness causes excess mucus production. There's a lot of mucus that is produced in the airways that causes some blockages in the airways. So the person will not be able to breathe well and the air will not be able to reach the lungs. And it also causes a narrowing of these airways, so they'll become very, very small, and they become swollen because of the hyperresponsiveness that is going on, and the way that the body is responding to the triggers such as dust. So if you're allergic to so many things, if you're allergic to certain substances in the environment, you can easily have asthma because your body is reacting to those allergens that we call allergens that can result in you having this hyperresponsiveness in the chest. So the other thing with asthma is that people with asthma would present with wheezing. So they would have chest tightness and they would have wheezing. So they would not be able to breathe well, and that is how come they would end up going to the hospital. So today we're talking about what asthma is. We say that asthma is a chronic inflammatory disease that results from a hyperresponsiveness to certain substances in the environment, such as dust. Tomorrow we'll talk about some of the other triggers of asthma, so make sure that you watch, and if you have any questions you can always reach out to me on Facebook at Dr. Nakubena Mfaya, and if you need to watch any of the other videos, you can watch them on YouTube at Dr. Nakubena Mfaya as well. I'll see you again next time. Take care and God bless.
I hope you did learn one or two things there on what the doctor was talking about regarding to asthma. But right about now, let's get direct into our money market. We have the United States dollar there buying at 25 kwacha 17 ngwe and selling at 25 kwacha 67 ngwe. We have the euro there buying at 27 kwacha 74 ngwe and selling at 28 kwacha 29 ngwe. We have the Great British Pound there buying at 32 kwacha 02 ngwe and selling at 32 kwacha 66 ngwe. We have the South African rand they are buying at 1 kwacha 37 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 39 ngwe. Anyway, on this, our interest is on the dollar. We can see that on the selling part we are going toward 26. Yep.
Yeah, but I think there should be some sort of hope that one of the citizens out there should have, because if you do remember, previously last week on a Friday, Republican President Hakainde Hichilema was addressing the nation. In his state of address for the end of year, he did mention to say once things get to stabilize by 2024, things now will be able to trickle down to the marginalized Zambians, and that's when we expect to see some strength being gained when it comes to the dollar, when it comes to how the cost of business is, when it comes to how the cost of living is.
Yeah. So
once everything is done, according to him, he was marrying his aspect or the explanation to the debt restructuring process, as well as issues relating to the country's mining policy also being standardized, because we also saw a company in IRHS coming on board with about 1.1 million investment into Mopani copper mine, and that's a huge
milestone,
huge investment, because even the president himself did mention to say copper belt will be back to normal where now we're talking about job creation and all these aspects. But we only hope for 2024 to be a better year, as he predicted as president, because just like he says, the chief market of this country. So hopefully he's got great foresight that's going to be actualized at the end of the day.
Yeah, and away from that, I'm also allude to the fact that he also did mention that in some schools they are planning to install internet. That is one of the great things.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's a progressive move.
Not really in some schools, but in all schools.
In all schools, yeah.
Yes. So Starlink now is going across the board and ensuring that internet is stored everywhere. And
I love the emphasis that you also made on health workers who are deployed in certain areas. Don't come back. I love the fact because we are talking about everyone have access to healthcare services.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be deployed, let's say for example in Shangombo district, and then you come back to Lusaka, how are people in Shangombo district going to receive that healthcare service that they need? So these are things that we need to look at. And I'm glad you also mentioned the fact that even if there are no houses, we are going to build houses there. We are going to construct more houses. I think this has, raised some hope in those who are thinking of changing their mind and coming back to Lusaka. I know the notion has always been, we need to be back to Lusaka, but we need to develop other areas so that, development should be everywhere, and not the fact that we center our mind to Lusaka. Yeah, business should be everywhere.
Hang in there. If it means that we're in Shangombo, hanging there.
Yeah.
Things will get to stabilize by 2024, because the president has given a policy direction, and I think everyone now is tilting towards ensuring that that policy is implemented. And yeah, there were a lot of...
I might surprise you with a VITS in 2024.
A VITS, right? a VITS would do. A VITS would do.
Yeah, but hey, I did promise Soko, so I might surprise him. Things...
But hey, you two can be part of our conversation this morning. It's Nelson Zulu as well as Miriam Kaimba on the Monday edition of the Camnet TV Breakfast Show, working live to your screen on Go TV channel 25, Top Star channel 106, DSTV channel 274, as well as Facebook and YouTube. And this is a segment now that we call Zooming Headlines, and we get to look at some of the stories that are making headlines into this extended weekend. I call it extended weekend because to some it is a holiday today, but for us, work continues, and we're just here to make sure that we give you nothing but the very best of content that you deserve in as far as Christmas is concerned. How are you celebrating Christmas? How is it out there? Is everything in order?
Have you bought, the very, very important question is, have you bought your chicken and rice and the crate of Fanta?
Okay.
And Coca-Cola.
It's important that you've mentioned about that, because even the president...
last Friday, fireworks.
Even party after party.
No, but basically when you talk about Christmas, people celebrate it in different ways, but the most important way is you need to celebrate it responsible, because we have seen that a lot of people get so overexcited, and those you find that some are like drunk beyond and want to get on the road and drive. We see more accidents being caused. So the most important thing is, yes, we know that the president has advised party not after party, but how are you celebrating it? You need to celebrate responsible. He doesn't necessarily say that you can't celebrate, but how are you celebrating it? Because there are some people, Nelson, trust me, it's beyond. It's beyond.
The moment I was coming to the office.
And other people would want to take advantage and just say, because it's Christmas, I can do whatever I want, I'll drink whatever I want. But hey, we are talking about celebrating the birth of Christ. Are you going to celebrate by, being reckless, being drunkard, beyond? No. I want to celebrate responsibly.
I think for me, it's a season of reflection.
Yeah, it is.
Where you need to sit down, look at, okay, I had certain plans that needed to be worked out, and as far as 2023 is concerned, have these plans worked out for me?
A lot of people would wait for New Year to make those plans, to make those reflections.
Well, New Year, I think it's time to start making new resolutions for the year.
Yeah, but a lot of people would still wait, and then, after that, plan for new resolution. But anyway, how are you celebrating your Christmas? Have you gone to church? tell us, give us a call. Those who are watching us live on Facebook, please drop us that message. And those who are watching us in the comfort of your home, do call us. Let us get interacted. Anyway, moving forward, let's just get to look at two stories that were making headlines over the weekend before we usher in our guest this morning. So we had a story where a lawmaker has called on the government to increase their allocation of relief food in Chama South of Eastern Province amidst a looming hunger crisis. Chama South Member of Parliament Davison Mungandu disclosed to Camnet TV that due to low rainfall being recorded in the area, there is food insecurity. Let's get to look at that story.
In Zambia, farming inputs are like the magic that turn unfertile land into a land of plenty. They do not only support the country's food security, but boost economic growth for both farmers and the country. However, 95% of crop production in Zambia is rain-fed, making small-scale farmers vulnerable to the impacts of climate change and seasonal variability. In October this year, the Zambia Meteorological Department predicted that the country would experience normal to below normal rainfall in the 2023-2024 rainy season due to an El Niño. Among the parts affected by this situation is the Eastern Province. As such, Chama South Member of Parliament Davison Mungandu has appealed to government to increase relief food in Eastern Province to cushion the looming hunger situation. Mr. Mungandu tells this journalist that despite the government's approval of about 5,000 by 50 kg bags of maize for relief food between Chama North and Chama South, the effort is not enough.
Stores are completely gone. People are swelling. This is the situation. Making matters worse, a few businessmen who could access maize or milling from Rondazi for resale in the valley, we are told that ZNS is now impounding milling that is being moved from Chipata to Rondazi. So soon you also hear the crisis in Rondazi and other areas. So I'll be appealing to government that they should increase their allocation. Chama South alone probably will need about 20,000 by 50 kg bags of maize. 2,500 will just cover maybe one ward. So we'll be appealing for more help. And not only that, let them also in Chama North open the depot for community sales.
The lawmaker says currently farmers are facing difficulties in practicing their agricultural activities due to the historic human-animal conflict. Mr. Mungandu has since called for a holistic approach towards handling the issue of human-animal conflict in the area.
So we are appealing to our government that please, before we start losing lives, give us enough relief food. It's not that we are lazy people. Let's find a permanent solution on human-animal conflict. A lot of our people lose their crop to these wild animals, particularly elephants.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News.
During his 2023 end-of-year press conference on Friday, 22nd December 2023, President Hakainde Hichilema signed the much-awaited Access to Information Bill into law. This is after the bill was shelved by successive governments for years, even after promising to enact this law. The signing of the bill has been described as historical by media experts and non-government organizations like Alliance for Community Action.
The Access to Information signing by the president yesterday is something that we Zambians must celebrate, not only because it is a law that has been advocated for a long time, but that it is one that affects our democracy as well as development. So when most people hear about access to information, they think it's about security, they think it's about secrets. But it's also about citizens, for example, being able to ask questions about what decisions are being made. Now that it has been passed, it is important that we Zambians test it. That we test it and see that it actually works. I think many Zambians have been wanting to know, for example, about the Gabon air disaster. Maybe we should know.
As Center for Media Rights Watch and Protection founder and executive director Muya Mukumbuta says he anticipates a smooth implementation of this law.
Access to Information Bill, corruption will be fought tooth and nail. The media will now play a very critical role in ensuring that they become an effective watchdog. Information that is of public interest will now be made available within a shortest period of time. Now this is very good news, because citizens out here have suffered enough in the hands of corrupt leaders who, in this case, were missing out because there was no transparency. People used to hide information on how to go about those schemes meant for the majority Zambians.
Meanwhile, Media Institute of Southern Africa, Mr. Zambia Board Chairperson Lorraine Mwanza, in a statement, says this momentous occasion signifies a significant step in promoting transparency, accountability, and fostering an environment conducive to the principles of good governance. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Thank you so much. And we now transition into our first interview this morning with Reverend Solomon Mbulo from the Zambia Declaration as a Christian Nation, who is part of the organizing committee and is just here to help us understand what is the fashionable way in terms of celebrating Christmas, as well as a build up to the 29th of December 2023, as we get to celebrate Zambia as a Christian nation, a declaration that was made by then Second Republican President Frederick Titus Jacob Chiluba in 1998 on the very day, 29th December. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
We are glad to have you on set this morning.
Thank you very much. On this special day, I would say Merry Christmas to Zambians.
Talking about Christmas, a lot of people, we have seen a notion where, people, when we talk about celebrating Christmas, others will celebrate it in a different way. But the notion itself, Christmas, what exactly is it?
I'll start first by defining Christmas. It's Christ Mass. It's a Mass for Jesus Christ. It's a pity that on this day, instead of us remembering that somebody was born to redeem mankind from sin, but you find that it's a time that when people do parties, go drinking. Like yesterday when I was driving, we had a function in a Chelston area under Stenchilanga. So there was a place which you passed, it's a pub. I could find the young ones there, as little as 9 years old, some of even 6, So they think Christmas is a time for us to party or maybe to drink. But for us as believers, it's a time for us to celebrate that somebody came and was born to save mankind. So I pray that as a Christian nation, we should lead by example. That even these bar owners on the eve of Christmas, instead of them just opening up for beer drinking, I think we should reach a place where maybe we close the bars and all people rush to church, since we're a Christian nation, so that the world can know that Zambia is a Christian nation.
And I'm glad that that was part of my follow-up question, where you suggested that we should advise rather bar owners to close their bars so that people can go to church, because we have seen lately, especially young people. My concern has been on young people. It's like the whole entire year, maybe they will have some restriction at home.
Yes.
But when it's on the Christmas Eve, on the Christmas, the actual day itself, you find that a lot of young people just roam the street around without any care or protection from their parents.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because there was one time when I was waiting for Zesco. I think that day I knocked off a bit late. So I was driving, I think from Mandevu to town. Then I found this lady, stopped me. I gave a lift. and it was on Christmas Eve. So I said, where are you going? She said, no, I'm going to town. I gave her a lift too, since I was going to town. But on the way, when we were discussing, I said, what are you going to do to town this hour? She said, no, this is a Christmas Eve, and this is the only time I'm allowed to go out and enjoy.
Yes, without any limitation of what time we are
Yes,
to come
at
back.
least once a year, I celebrate this day. I said, no, madam, you are celebrating the wrong way. This is not the true meaning of Christmas. The message of Christmas is that Jesus was born to save mankind from sin. It's not a time for us to be involved in the sinful activities. It's a time for us to worship the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords.
Do you think somehow we are losing our values in terms of how we are celebrating these days, looking at some of the activities that keep on happening when we celebrate Christmas?
Yeah, in fact, I agree with you that we are losing Christian values, because in those days it was unheard of to see the young ones on the streets on the eve of Christmas Day, even patrolling the bus. In those days, we find that the young ones would stay at home, so maybe the elder one maybe would go out. But nowadays, it's amazing. My church is in Mrs. Compound. So during Christmas Eve, and I think we've got now these third roads. So you find that the streets will be full of kids and people celebrating Christmas in another way. So what I'm saying is that slowly we are losing Christian morals as a nation. So it's a call to fellow pastors, it's a call to the government, so that we can come up with certain rules that would promote our Christian values in the nation.
I'm glad that you come from the religious point of view, or the religious side of things. Yes, I'll drive you to a perspective where we see that these issues continue to escalate among the youths especially. But are there any efforts that are being made to ensure that these youths are inculcated with the right morals or values that should deem them to say, okay, the fashionable way of celebrating Christmas or New Year's Eve or New Year itself is this way, from the church point of view?
From the church point of view, I think we are doing it at individual levels. For example, yesterday we had the Sunday service, so I was encouraging the church that tomorrow we're meeting again. Because I know that some of you, that's the time you eat maybe chicken.
Because that has always been the notion. You can't have Christmas without having chicken and rice.
So I said, if you want to eat your chicken, wake up early, cook the chicken early, and then come to church, because you miss the mark.
Yeah.
Because the reason for Christmas is that we should celebrate it in church. I want to see you come in big numbers to come and celebrate Christmas. If you want, you can cook in the night, but don't miss the service. So, but at a national level, I don't think we're doing much. And I pray that there should be deliberate efforts from pastoral and maybe the government, so that we work together, we come up with a system whereby we can bring up these children in the fear of God, and explain the true meaning of Christmas.
Others do argue that, you see, Christmas is just like any other day. Why should it be celebrated and be regarded as the day we are reflecting on the life of Jesus, or maybe the birth of Jesus?
It's just like every human being has got a birthday, and we can't say every day is my birthday. Of course, it was not done on the actual day, or 25th, but it's a day that has been set apart for the whole world to remember that somebody came. I was trying to look at these other religions, like Muslims and so on. So you find that on the day Muhammad was born, we don't have holiday. But when you talk about Jesus Christ, we've got the holiday. In fact, the whole world is remembering this day. So what I'm saying that we cannot say that every day is Christmas. No, because as a human being has got only one day, a birthday. So even us as believers, we celebrate on this particular day because somebody came to save us.
One thing, because we are looking at how responsible young people should celebrate this day, don't you think again parents have not done enough of their duty when it comes to ensuring the safety of the young ones and just advising them on how best they should celebrate this day?
Yeah, in fact, that's a very good question. I don't know what is happening. I think we're in the last days, because I thank God that like yesterday all our children were at home. So I thank God. But there are some disgruntled children. Even if you tell them to stay home, you find that they sneak out. They find themselves somewhere else. So what I'm saying that it's a big challenge. And especially that the Bible has also prophesied that in the last days children will be disobedient to their parents. So I think what we're seeing now is a mixture of prophetic word and also the human being error in trying to run away from the Maker.
Well, so I know also that you are also part of the organizing committee when it comes to the declaration of Zambia the Christian nation. We do remember that this day was declared back then in 1998 on the 29th of December by then second Republican President,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick Titus Jacob Chidoba. What's the significance of this day in terms of ensuring that it's upheld to even generations to come?
Thank you very much. This day, as Zambians, we should treasure it. Because when you talk about the covenant, a covenant normally is made between the weaker and the stronger. So on that day, when our then president declared that Zambia shall be a Christian nation, we went in the covenant with God. God is stronger than mankind. So he was saying, I cannot rule this nation on my own. And Zambia cannot be led on its own. It needs somebody stronger. So on that day, we went in the covenant with the Most High God. The covenants are done into it by the king and the priest. So the king declared. When the king declared, it becomes a law. That's why you find that even nowadays we continue keeping the declaration. So the significance about why we should also maintain it for our children is that, if we lose it now, if we don't do it now, I was getting concerned, actually. Because in the past, when we have this, what we call National Day of Prayer, Declaration of Zambia as a nation, as a Christian nation, you find that maybe we thank God that when we have got National Day of Prayer, that time we would see the President Lungu attending, which was very good, meaning that he also added value to the nation on the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation, because it was a time for us as Zambians to repent and seek God's guidance. And I'm happy that this time, yesterday I was at a candle night at the church of Bishop Narumangu, where the Vice President was also present. So as I was given a chance to pronounce that, I'm to give an announcement that we're meeting on Friday at Mulongoshi to celebrate the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation, somebody came, said actually, her honor has sent me to tell you that you should also announce that the president will be the guest of honor. This has been a worry for many Zambians. So I said, oh, this is a good news that even our current president will be there, meaning that he also acknowledges that he cannot manage this nation on his own. We need the guidance of God.
Still on the Christian nation aspect of Zambia being declared a Christian nation, we've had people that do argue that, is it fashionable to continue claiming that we're a Christian nation when the values and the principles that are being exhibited by almost the generations that are in the country are contrary to the Christian values that are there?
You know, a declaration is a declaration. It's just like at home. When you declare that my home is the Christian home, I won't allow anybody smoking, I won't allow anybody to be drinking in the home, whether a visitor or my own children. So it means that everybody has to respect that, because it's your home. So what we are saying is that we have declared Zambia as a Christian nation. But this doesn't mean that we are free from evil, corruption, and so on. These devices will be there. But our job as believers is to pray that God should give those people in power wisdom on how to handle such issues. Coming back to home, I was saying that in the home, for example, you have children who are disgruntled, others who obey you as maybe the declaration of your home as a Christian home. But there will be some children who will be sneaking maybe out, maybe drinking somewhere, maybe misbehaving. But that does not subtract that your home is a Christian home, despite all those things happening in the house.
But someone would argue that since you're a Christian nation, you need to lead by example and live by the tenets of one being a Christian.
Yes. Remember that it was just declared recent, and the evil that we are facing as a nation is deep rooted. If you read in the Bible, the Genesis chapter 9, you read that the earth was corrupt. And the thought of man was continually evil. But the Bible says, but Noah found favor in the eyes of God. Noah was a just man. Noah was a righteous man. Noah walked with God. So what I'm trying to say that these things that we are seeing today are not new. They have been there also. Because in the time of Noah, they were there. People were corrupt. So we also live in the corrupt world. But our prayer is that those in power, you should be able to fight these devices.
Anyway, as we come to the conclusion of our interview this morning, what are some of your encouragement to the people out there and your message of Christmas?
Okay. My message for Christmas is from Matthew 1, verse 21, with that the Bible says, you shall call him Jesus, because he's going to save the people from sin. So I pray that as we celebrate this Christmas, Zambians, remember his name was because Jesus, the reason of that was that he was going to save his people from sins. So during Christmas time, we should carry a message of reconciliation, of peace and love. He came to reconcile man back to God. So if there are differences in the nation, if in the families, in the churches, this is the time for us to reconcile back to God. Then coming now to 29th December on Friday, I want to appeal to all Zambians to come up in big numbers. Remember that 18th October has been declared as a holiday. So as a church, we are still appealing to the government that 29th December should also be declared a public holiday, so that people can come in numbers to celebrate our declaration as a Zambia as a Christian nation. So what I'm saying is that on this day we have lined up a number of activities. At 8:30 hours, we all gather at North Mid Assemblies of God. and then start off from there at 9 hours, going to Mulungushi, a conference center, Kenneth Kaunda wing. And there at Mulungushi, International Conference Center, we are planning up a number of activities, starting from 9 hours to about 16 hours. So we are appealing to all Zambians that on this day, let us come in numbers and fill up Mulungushi, especially that this time our President, Hichilema, will be the guest of honor. Please let us show the world that Zambia is a Christian nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We've been having a conversation with Reverend Solomon Mbulo, who's just been helping us in terms of understanding the fashionable way in terms of celebrating Christmas, as well as looking forward to the day, Friday, 29th of December 2023, as we get to celebrate the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation, as it was pronounced back then in 1998 by then President Mr. Frederick Titus Jacob Chiluba. But right about now, we take a very quick, short break, and we'll be back on the other side. Keep it on Camnet.
What if I never knew? What if I never found you? I never have this feeling in my heart.
Are you planning to marry or get married? Contact the Camnet Media team for a professional capturing of your big day in life. Let your relatives, friends, and the nation join you in celebrating your big day on television. Just at a manageable fee, Camnet Television will cover and transmit your wedding on your channel of choice. Contact the marketing department on mobile number. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
I give my love to having home, and as far
Thank you so much for staying tuned to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show on a Monday. And now we know that Christmas continues. How are the celebrations going on at your area or in your yard or at your place? How are you coping up with the Christmas celebration? How is the general feeling from your area, your neighborhood? You can give us that call, give us that contribution of yours, give us as well as your perspective in terms of some of the stories that we get to zoom in. Away from the interview, we get to also look at some of the stories that were making headlines in our previous bulletin on the weekend. And one of the stories that we get to look at this time is that of the Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency, ZAMSA, who has said they failed to purchase cancer drugs since April 2023 due to inefficient procurement department. The agency earlier this year sent 8 staff from the procurement department on a non-punitive suspension due to failure to meet 50% of targeted medicine purchased by 2023. We also get to look at a story from a concerned citizen who has called on the government to cancel the recruitment of the 3,000 health workers, citing illegalities in the recruitment processes. Mr. Mukeleba Ilikezo questions the criteria used in the recruitment process, alleging that the country has no standardized procedures for recruiting health workers. These are some of the stories that we get to look at, and we'll be back on the other side.
The Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency has held its end-of-year press conference, highlighting a number of successes and challenges in the year under review. ZAMSA Director General Victor Nyasulu says the agency, with the increased budget allocation of about 4.1 billion kwacha, has increased drug stocks at the central warehouse to 60% as of December 2023 from 40% a few months ago. Mr. Nyasulu says the agency is doubling efforts to ensure that it reaches the World Health Organization recommended 70% medicine stock capacity.
When successfully completed, this mop-up strategy should assist ZAMSA, together with the other initiatives we have engaged in. We should easily reach the WHO recommended 70% stock availability at the center. The new ZAMSA management is today leaving behind a low burn rate culture on the MMS fund, in response, of course, to the presidential imperative.
Speaking during the press conference Saturday morning, Mr. Nyasulu says the agency has normalized supply of medicines in health posts, with the undersupply remaining with hospitals and secondary health facilities.
There's another portion, which is the hospital or secondary health care system. There, we still have a problem. It is common knowledge that, for example, the cancer diseases hospital may be the hardest hit, but that is why we have been delayed in getting to 70%.
Meanwhile, Mr. Nyasulu says the agency is still carrying out disciplinary measures of 8 underperforming procurement officers who were suspended in November, who are now 6 as 2 had their contracts expired. He says due to procurement inefficiency, the agency has not managed to purchase cancer drugs since April 2023.
The cancer drugs, the procurement started in April of this year. Up to today, they have not been delivered. We have an additional problem. Some of the cancer drug suppliers are local suppliers, and they are now crying about the risk related to the exchange movement. They want us to change the contract into dollar, and they're asking us to give them more time to deliver. This is a very big problem that we have, and we are seeking a solution with the authorities.
For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
On the 19th of December 2023, the Civil Service Commission announced the successful candidates for the 2023 recruitment of health workers by the Ministry of Health, much to the excitement of many stakeholders. A concerned citizen of Zambia, Mukeleba Ilikezo, has challenged the government over the recruitment process and asked the Civil Service Commission to state the procedure and criteria used in this year's recruitment. Speaking at a press briefing Sunday, Mr. Likezo says that Zambia has no standards and effective procedures for huge recruitment processes and questions the transparency of the recruitment process, further describing it as an illegal undertaking. He states that the lack of standardization of health practitioners has made a lucid attempt to destroy the health system in the country.
Go name by name. All the applications must be examined. That is the only way you are going to guarantee this fairness and equity. Because you need to get the best, and when you begin to scrutinize, you come to a point where you shortlist. And when you shortlist, it means that these are the most qualified, and there are many factors that you must consider when you are looking into those issues. And when you pick those, and you have to interact with them so that you are sure that these people that are applied, they are not animals, they are human beings. And
he has also challenged the logic behind unemployed health workers paying for their practicing licenses to the Health Practitioners Council of Zambia as illegal, and other health councils stating that only those in employment must pay for those licenses.
For illegal payment of practicing license to HPCZ and other health councils. You may be aware that it's a requirement that every health profession must be registered and they must hold a practicing license. Now, you must know that a practicing license is only needed when you are in an employment, because what you have as a knowledge was given to you, was accredited to you by an institution that educated you, those people that gave you your credentials that you are using. Now, when you go to get your certificate as a practicing license, you only need to pay for that when you are in employment. But what is obtaining in Zambia right now is that those that are not employed, they are paying practicing license. And why they are paying practicing license, we don't know. And we want that to stop, because it's illegal and it's immoral.
Mr. Likezo has since called on the Civil Service Commission and the ministry to publish the list of all promoted health workers from this recruitment.
The Ministry of Health and the Civil Service must produce a list of those promoted. They say they promoted. Now we want to see the list and the letters of those people that were promoted. Of course, what we want,
all successful health workers are to report for duty by Tuesday 26th December 2023. Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
According to the Anti-Corruption Resource Center, Zambia faces significant corruption challenges in public procurement and the justice sector, among others. According to the center's 2023 report, corruption remains a problem in the Zambian context, with government officials frequently engaging in corrupt acts with impunity. However, the Hakainde Hichilema-led UPND government has committed to fight the vice. Earlier this year, President Hichilema declared that corruption cases in courts should be resolved within 90 days.
Here is a message for you and the nation. Do not call the fight against corruption selective. Do not call it ethnic-based. If you took public money, you did not take it for your ethnic group. You took it for yourself.
However, during the end-of-year press conference, the head of state announced that cases will be tried within 5 months. Human rights commentator Michael Zulum says the directive by President Hichilema brings hope to the fight against corruption in the country.
The announcement by the head of state, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, during his press conference that corruption cases in Zambia will now be dealt with within a period of 5 months brings some sort of encouragement and some relief and optimism, of course, because in Zambia we've had all this circus about corruption cases. We've had news that state coffers have been plundered. We've had news that illegal contracts, for example, or inflated contracts have been gotten into. All these are questions that need answers, and there's nothing that Zambians want apart from answers to the questions of corruption.
But governance activist Brenda Changala has advised the president not to make directives to punish individuals he might not like.
It's on record that the president went to parliament and he made a pronouncement on the floor of parliament that they are looking at the way in which corruption cases must take 90 days. I must warn you, it's very dangerous to make laws to specifically target a certain group of individuals, because sooner rather than later, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema will be caught up in his own web. And this is a danger when you want to do things because of somebody somewhere you don't like. This must have been a matter that is subjected to scrutiny by all citizens.
It remains Zambians' hope that corrupt public officials will account for their actions, decisions and conduct as they serve the citizens. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
A good road leading into a market plays a crucial role in contributing to good business flow for marketeers. It ensures an easy and quicker way to sell and access products and services. The paving of the road that leads into Chilenje Market, which was in a deplorable state for some time and made it difficult for businesses in and around the market, especially during the rain season, that is no longer the story. Through the help of Constituency Development Fund, CDF, the paving of the road has started and the development has excited traders in Chilenje Market. Lydia, a trader, says the paving has come at the right time as they face challenges with the road during the rainy season. Another trader tells this journalist that the paving of the road will attract business to her stand as she is located just outside Chilenje Market.
Better way of controlling the traffic, the parking.
Says the paving of roads will stretch out to most roads along Chilumburu Road so as to improve the road network in the area.
CDF, as you are aware, there's an increase in the CDF allocation, and it is from that we are going to still see further such developments. So after we do this one, we've got another one where we are going to do a few selected roads that we are still going to pave within the community. I want to announce that I'm very proud to see that what we assured the people is coming to pass, and at the end of our term, at least people now can judge us on whether we've delivered or not. But I want to assure the people that the best is yet to come.
Cherish Sivote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Thank you so much. We are back, and pretty much exciting that we continue to come live on your screen wherever you're watching us from, be it on Go TV channel 25, Top Star channel 106, as well as DSTV channel 274. And right about now, we're joined by Councillor Ruben Mwenya, all the way from Chilenje Ward 8 within Lusaka here, just to help us understand some of the developmental issues that are happening pertaining to his ward and what the people of Chilenje Ward 8 should look out for in as far as the 2024 is concerned, and what exactly we're supposed to see as it is. Good morning, Mr. Mwenya.
Good morning, and welcome viewers to today's program.
We're glad to have you on set this morning.
Thank you, thank you.
It's been quite a while. I know you are not a guest when it comes to the screens of Camnet TV.
Yeah, this is my home TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed, it's been a while. We've just been moving up and down, trying to see that we fulfill one or two issues that we assured the people.
Going direct into our interview this morning, we know that there had been some of the various projects that you were undertaking, specifically in your ward 8 in Chilenje. Maybe just give us some of the highlights of some of the projects that have been happening and what people expect come 2024.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Indeed, it has been a journey of trying to implement, and also a learning process in certain areas of development. You must be aware that we are 2 years in government, and in 2 years I must mention to you that we have made quite good progress. We have indeed built one or two infrastructure which we are still yet looking at. If I'm going to list them, I would say we have done an ablution at Chilenje Level 1 Hospital. You know, Chilenje Level 1 Hospital services quite a huge area in Lusaka to save, not only in Kabata but in Lusaka, because we've got certain people that come from Bauleni, certain people that come from Lusaka Central. So if you see that the facility is congested and there was a need, or there was an urgent need for an ablution, because the state in which the ablution was not okay, and we did that as a first thing. So we did an ablution block for the hospital, level 1 hospital. We did a paving. You know, when you go to Chilenje level 1 hospital, the driveway was in a very deplorable state. You know, it was very challenging for the staff of the hospital to either move patients that would be on the wheelchairs or those in the stretchers, on the stretchers. So also that has been done. So you see that when you go to Chilenje Hospital, of course, it is not in a perfect state, but I think it is in a very good state now. I think about 80% of how a facility must be. And having done that, also, we continue to urge management of hospital, of Chilenje Hospital, to guide the facility. You know, a lot of money was spent on that facility, and sometimes it is very disturbing to hear that there are a few traces of vandalism already taking place at that facility. So also it is upon the management of the hospital to see that the investment that we've put in there is protected and safeguarded and appreciated at the end of the day, because we responded to the cry of the general public that there was need for that facility to be put in place. So that we've done. So you see, at just a hospital, we've done the paving, we've done the ablution block. When we go to these schools, you find that we have supplied quite a number of desks. So some of the schools we've already given them. Some of the schools like Timothy and Chilenje B, right now they are keeping a number of desks which we shall distribute to other schools when schools open. So that is also an achievement. So we're going to see that a lot of pupils are not going to be sitting on the floor. When we move from there, you come to Chilenje itself. I think the time that I was coming in as a councillor, I found that they were dumping garbage right in the market next to where the water facility is, which was a danger to the marketeers and just the general public. You know, there are services that are offered in this market. There are restaurants. There are all these facilities that give service to the public that may affect their health if certain measures were not taken. So I took upon myself and my team to make sure that we move the garbage from the market and take it where it is conducive. So in doing that, we put up a waste bay, and the waste bay has not yet been commissioned or handed over yet. So that is also an achievement that we've done. So very soon we should be handing over the waste bay together with the water reticulation in the market. So what will be happening is that garbage now will be taken to that dump site, where there are people that are going to be working there separating the waste. That for recycling will be separated, and that which is supposed to go to the actual dump site in Ngwere there also will be separated. So at the end of the day, we'll have a conducive area of waste disposal. So that also is something that we can tick that we have done also through CDF. And and besides that, we are going to see now this paving of Chilenje market.
Let me take you back to vandalism. When we talk about development, some of the things that has hindered development, to see much development that we want to see, is vandalism. You spoke about, some people vandalizing the facility at Chilenje Level 1 Hospital, but have we seen anyone being brought to book?
Thank you so much, Miriam, for that concern. Indeed, we haven't seen any brought to book, and it is our plea or it is our request from the general citizen that let us be a brother's keeper. There are times we find people committing an illegality and we just look at them because it does not affect us. So long it is not mine in Baboma, so there's nothing I can do. We can't even report. So at that particular time, I think it is important for people to understand that we can as well enforce the citizens' arrest, where we make sure that people are accountable for their wrongdoings. You find that we put up street lighting. You find people be stealing batteries from those solar powered street lights. We do certain things that involves metal. You find people will be cutting down, selling it as a scrap. So this problem is very common in most parts of this country, and I know that now with the provisions of these Land Cruisers under CDF for the police, a lot of patrols are going to be intensified. So I believe that we are going to see a bit of reduction in such kind of activities. But also, I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think institutions, it is important for institutions also to safeguard by providing security. You see that it is better you spend on securing an infrastructure than starting all over again. It is more expensive that way. You see that? So it is not only even just for security, but even for cleanliness and maintenance of these facilities. There must always be attention attached to them. Yeah.
Yeah, and talking about development, are there any plans when we look when we talk about development? When we look at a road such as Muramba, is it Muramba Road?
Muramba Road.
Yes, and they've also been receiving concerns about Chris Corner having some sort of a lot of potholes. Is there a plan going into 2024 that you wish to implement and ensure that such issues are also addressed?
Thank you so much. Indeed, so there's a stretch from Mosotunya Road all the way up to the T junction there before Nazarene. There's always potholes that are created, especially during this rain season. So I'm hoping that because council works with what we call them performance contractors. These performance contractors are given contracts by the local government itself. So Lusaka City Council becomes a supervisory of these contractors, and they've been given a responsibility to do these maintenances. So we can say for now that we intend to use CDF to sort out those issues, but it is up to Lusaka City Council and ourselves as councillors to make sure that these performance contractors are doing what they are being paid for. You know, this issue is not the first time. There have been patchings that have taken place there, but I think it is also the kind of material that our colleagues use. Find that they will do the patchings today, maybe second month, those things start coming out. So there are two things that are affecting that. Sometimes when they do the patchings there, motorists are not patient to wait for the materials to dry for them to start using the road. So you find even if they barricade, they put those barricades for people not to pass through, they will still go against and pass through the roads even when it is not dry. Then again they'll start blaming council, or start blaming councillor, or start blaming the MP. So there must be a coordination in the way we do things if we're going to see a lot of success in whatever we are doing. People also must appreciate that whatever is being done, it is being done for the well-being of themselves as motorists. So basically that will be patching, but also let them understand that when people say let's not use this road for this period of time to allow the road be worked on, I think there must be compliance on that.
Another concern also has been the issue of the drainage along Chilumbulu Road, as well as the issue of sewerage. When it comes to, there's an area in Chilenje called the Tot 2 area, where issues of sewer has been very persistent. Your take on these issues in terms of how you intend to address them as area council?
You see, this issue of sewer, leakages, sewer overflow becomes more of a problem around this time during rain season. It becomes worse because what happens is that when it is raining, people within our communities, within our wards, take advantage of the rains, get their garbage, throw in these sewer lines, hoping that that garbage will go, because they can't pay for a 100 kwacha per month to have a company collect their waste. You see, things have changed. People must understand. A lot of these homes, they have built almost everywhere on a particular space. No space for anything. And you see, in Zambia now, it is against the law to dig a pit and start throwing your garbage there. Every household must subscribe to a garbage collecting company. And because they feel they cannot pay for that waste, the alternative they have is either finding an open space where they, in the night, they go and dump their waste, or when it rains, they dump their waste in the sewer lines. And this is why now there is this problem. But you see, the unfortunate part is that in Lusaka, we only have one company that deals in these sewer problems, Lusaka Water and Sewerage. And you find that when you report today, like there is a problem right now in Karomo Road, there is a problem around the same tall trees, there's a problem around Mapoloto. So it is only one company which is supposed to work also in Garden, it's supposed to work also in Matero, it's supposed to work also in Tendere. So sometimes, even when people are told, be patient, because these people are not just seated, they're also sorting out other problems elsewhere, because you see, this service is on the first come, first serve basis. They can't stop what they're doing in Matero to come and attend to Cancer Ruben Mwenya. You see that? So, in some way, I, as Ruben, have no control of Lusaka Water because it's a different institution. I'm limited in what I can do. I'll negotiate with them to make sure that they can sort out our issues on time, but entirely, I have no control of how they do their operations that side. And this is why it is very important for our people to understand that when they dump that in the sewer line, it does not go anywhere, but it goes to block the way for the water or for whatever it is to go to where it is supposed to go. So in a way, about 60%, people are contributing to this. They are damaging this facility. They must know.
But the other concern that a lot of people would want to argue, or rather residents would want to argue, is how fast or do they get the response from the Lusaka Water and Sewerage. You'll find that sometimes you call upon these relevant authorities to come and address their issue, but you'll find maybe 3 months without any response.
It is quite unfortunate, and it shouldn't be like that. But like I was saying, it is only one company dealing with the whole Lusaka. And sometimes there are certain blockages that takes 2 weeks. They're just on a particular site trying to unblock. 2 weeks, they'll bring their machinery, they'll bring what? 2 weeks. So you find that if they don't unblock there, even if they go wherever they will go, there's nothing that will happen because they need to deal with the situation at a certain area. For example, there's the water coming from Kablonga and the blockage is in Chilenje. They can't come here to unblock. Even if they come here, there's nothing that will happen. they must unblock first from Chilenje. That's how it affects certain areas. The blockage can be here, but the effect will be seen from very far away. So people that are seeing it just with their eyes, they will think the problem is there. But the problem will be somewhere else. This is why sometimes the water and sewage guys, they may not even come to your house. They'll be in a certain area trying to unblock. The moment they unblock that side, you see that even your place becomes dry. My encouragement to the community is that let us safeguard these facilities. Let us know that once we throw in these diapers, these waste, we are affecting ourselves. We must know that these facilities were done a long time ago, before even this population is where it is today. And this is what Lusaka City Council, Lusaka Water and Storage, they are embarking on a program to start now putting in new sewer lines, because they've understood or they've realized that the population has grown far too much to be able to sustain what is already there. So if now what is there is not being handled well or taken care of, what will be happening now is this. Like I said, Lusaka Water is an opposite institution from where I am. We can only negotiate, but we cannot command them to say, do this, do that. No. They know how they work. You must report your situation, and they will come based on that report.
Let's move to the Constituency Development Fund. We have only about 7 days for us to go into 2024, and we know that CDF has been one of the major things that, you know, a lot of constituencies rely upon. As we go into 24, have we seen any improvement in terms of, you know, the issue where people were complaining that they do not have much information, access to information with regard on how they can, you know, form this cooperative and access these funds in terms of grants and loan? As you address that, maybe also you can touch on the need, because we have seen that CDF has been, you know, pressed so hard with a lot of components. You'll find there's need to build this, no, let's use CDF. There's need to do, let's use CDF.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Like I always say, it is only under this government that we have seen this massive increase in the allocation of CDF. And any new development comes with its own challenges. Right now, the challenges that we are having are challenges to do with procurement, because procurement never prepared for this kind of massive tendering of contracts, massive allocation of. It has come at once in a very huge amount of work to be done. For example, you would look at a constituency, maybe around 1.6 million. Then 1.6 million is not really a big amount of money to make people move around. But you're going to talk of Lusaka having 7 constituencies, each receiving 28.5 million. You expect a certain office to be able to deal with that in a short space of time. That is some of the challenges that have come with it. Of course, I think by now, a lot of people have heard of CDF. We've seen vehicles branded CDF. We have seen people doing businesses, those that have been receiving loans, those that have gotten grants. We've heard. But also, I think it's up to people, because there are people who are just lazy, who feel, okay, CDF, they want to be followed in their homes. Say, okay, no. People, when they've heard, let them make an effort. Let them go to like we have ourselves, we have an office at Chilenje Community Hall, where our WDC chairperson, Mr. Mauri, is found most of the times. You know, he's doing it out of sacrifice, because they were not paid anything. It is just a volunteer way of helping the community. So people must take this opportunity to go to such places and get more information, go to these schools where they're offering skills, find out what is it that the school is offering for CDF. Like that, people are going to benefit. But right now, a lot of people are benefiting. Even if you do an assessment tour, meet people, you find that people are benefiting. Of course, that time we were saying people haven't heard of CDF, but now I think CDF is everywhere. Even little children are aware of CDF. So CDF is there, it's real, and I think it's producing results. Of course, but challenges are always there.
Yeah, but despite you saying it's there, people are benefiting. We've still had a lot of people complaining that they do not know how to go about informing these cooperatives. And one of the things, especially in these compounds, in our compound, is that language barrier. They cannot understand.
I'll still come back to WDCs. Let them identify their WDCs. Let them, of course, sometimes it's difficult to get through to counselor. It's not always that people will get through freely, because today I'm here right now, I cannot pick calls. Next morning I'll be in a certain meeting pushing for certain projects of my ward. I may not be accessible sometimes, but I've advised people, send me a message where you need certain information, then we'll be able to get back at an appropriate time to advise. But let them be identifying the WDC's offices. Those offices are the ones that are going to explain to them in whatever language that they know, so that they can understand on how to go about all these things. But remember, like I said, some people, there's a certain mindset that was put in ourselves as we are growing up, that in life you must go to school and get employment. So even when a person is trying to empower you, okay, come and do this, come and do this, they won't pay attention. All they want is that they must either be given money directly or get an employment. So this issue where you say, okay, form a cooperative, go and do this, they feel lazy. They feel lazy because to them empowerment is just direct exchange of money. That is an empowerment, without looking into all these other processes. So basically what I'm saying is that let them identify their development committee chairpersons everywhere in Lusaka. We have those chairpersons.
Talking about that, I don't know, has Chilenja received any complaints of people misusing the funds that they're getting for cooperatives? I'll cite an example. Some 3 months ago, we had hosted a state member of parliament who alluded to the fact that in his constituency, there were people who were getting, funds that are meant to empower them behind, without the knowledge of other cooperative members knowing, and they're using it for their own benefits. Have you received such complaints in your ward?
Yes, we have. I think there's one where they got money and used it for something else. I think that report came to the committee, as CDF committee, and we even detained one of the people involved. Another one was in Kamwala, where they get the money as a cooperative. Then these two, the chairman and the secretary, decides to make the other committees not know the whereabouts of the money. And from the 40,000 that they got, you find that when you account for it today, you find that maybe 6,000. Ask them where is the rest of the money. They can't really account for it. I think we opened a case with the council police where those guys were interrogated, statements were corrected from them. Those things are there, and it is just the monitoring that should always be there, so that people realize that that money is meant for goodwill. for themselves to be helped.
And in terms of talking about monitoring, it will bring me back to my question, how often do you do this monitoring process, and what mechanism have you put in place to ensure that we do not record such cases? Because definitely the money is meant to empower the people, but if it's being utilized in such a way, then meaning we won't see any development.
Monitoring is being done. That's why we have bought those Land Cruisers. We've got Kawata Land Cruiser, Kanyama Land Cruiser, Matero. Away from the CDF Land Cruisers for the police, we also have the CDF Land Cruisers for monitoring of these projects. So sometimes we do it maybe in a month, would visit certain cooperatives. Sometimes in 2 months we might visit even, we might do the inspections maybe twice in 2 months or twice in a month, depending on how the activities are going. So that monitoring is there. But you know, they're just people who are problematic. They're just people who just want to do a wrong thing, even when you guide them. You said also we have challenges where people don't want to pay for these loans, but they must be aware that, you see, loans have got certain implications. If you don't pay for them, you may lose out certain things or certain properties. People must take it very serious because they feel it's government money and we can't account for it. You see, tomorrow we won't be in power. We'll be caught to account for how we spent some of this money. Maybe a different government will come in and say, okay, you dispensed the 500 million in 2021. Where did this 500 go? We must account for that. Oh, this money was given to these individuals, and those individuals must pay back that money. It will have nothing to do with UPND. We gave them money. They signed that they're going to pay back this money, and they will be made to pay back that money, or properties will be collected from them so that that money can be recovered, because that money is government money. It is not Akainde's money. It is government money. And when Akainde says, I want to empower you, appreciate and take that seriously. You see that, huh? So basically, people must know and understand some of these things.
We've had concerns from some wards as well as constituencies where they're indicating that these ward development committees, most of them don't have capacity to manage the huge funds that have been channeled towards the constituency development fund. Is it still the case with you in Chilenge Wadate?
No, that is not true. Sometimes it is made to look like that because of the processes that take long. Not that there are certain individuals that, of course, I would say the delayments mostly are taken at procurement stages where it takes time for you know, when a project is identified, CDF approves, the ministry approves. Now it remains for the procurement department to award contracts. It is around that time that those delayments take place. Of course, what the WDCs don't handle these resources. They just identify together with the community what kind of projects must be done in a particular area. So WDCs don't come in the issues of management of these resources. It is entirely Lusaka City Council and other councils in Zambia, and the capacity is there, that I can confirm. It's just that in one area or the other we may have challenges which we are dealing with even up to now.
Well, even as we come to a close, your concluding remarks?
And just in addition, what are some of the things that your people in your ward are expecting in 2024 in terms of projects?
So in 2024, we want to expand the police station at Chilenge. Chilenge police has been there for a long time, and it's one of the biggest, I think, around Chilenge, where there's Mary Mwango, there's Godfrey Mianda, so it is overseeing all these other police posts. So there was a concern or need for the police station to be upgraded. So that is what we'll be looking at in 2024. Of course, we'll be looking at putting up a police station also in Mapoloto, just to try and reduce on the criminal activities that are currently taking place on that end. Also, we'll be paving Munyaole Market, because it also floods around this time of rain season. So we'll be paving that, and also we'll be working on identifying a contractor who will do a judo center just behind Munyaole Market. There's a sports facility that is supposed to be put there. So all those funds have been allocated. We'll see such taking place, not forgetting maybe 3 or 4 roads that will be identified in Chilenje where we need to also pave, so that we can provide a good service to the people. Of course, development may not happen in a day or overnight, but we are gradually making sure that we do the best that we can to the expectations of the people of Chilenje and Lusaka and Zambia at large.
Thank you so much. We've been having a conversation with Ruben Mwenya, Chilenje Ward 8 councillor, who's just been here sharing insights in terms of the developmental concerns as well as issues that are happening in Chilenje. And we do appreciate him because he's made time with us and he spent Christmas on the Camnet TV breakfast show together, and hopefully you had 1 or 2 insights, even as we get to count down to 7 more days to go as we get to conclude the year 2023, because we've already done away with 358 days, and we are pretty much sure that you are making merry because it is Christmas. And thank you so much for having me, Nelson Zul, as well as Miriam Kaimba on set this morning. From us as well as the technical team and the entire Camnet TV production team, it's thank you so much and make merry, because it is Christmas Day, and ensure that you are very much safe.